WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit. The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
I pledge to stay drug free.
I plan to stay drug free.
I pledge to stay drug free.
I pledge to be drug free.
I pledge to stay drug free.
Under the surface. So there are some things that we see all the time, but part of our challenge, I think, is that we don't get to deeper meaning or the deeper understanding of some of the things that are happening to us and with us in community. So today I want to introduce to you, one, the topic for the day, which is around wellness, around physical wellness, and a unique way that we can experience wellness. And my guest today is Christelle Williams. She is our on-staff, online Reiki master and intuitive healer. And so you'll learn a little bit more about what that means and what that means to you, and how you can use some of the techniques that she may be able to share with you, some of the understanding around what a Reiki master does, and also a little bit more about how she is an intuitive healer. So I'd like to welcome you today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And so I really want to kind of start with a position of wellness where I think everybody should know. So one of the first things I believe everybody should know is we all know what stress is. We know what it means to experience stress. So on the opposite pole of stress is joy. Joy, we think we understand what that means. We think we experience it because we call it happiness often.
Right.
But we also know sometimes happiness is fleeting, right? It's hard to maintain a state of happiness, a complete state of happiness. But these are some techniques I want to share with you, and we're going to pull this back as we talk to Christelle throughout this interview. But I want you to start the process today, if you haven't started already, of making a list of those things that bring you joy. So it's really important because as we experience stress in all areas of our lives, and if we continuously experience stress, we stay at this level, this pole, this opposite pole of our joy. But if you never know what your joy is because you've never experienced it or expressed it or even written it down for yourself, it's hard to stay in that place.
Absolutely.
And so we keep poling back to the end of stress. These things bring us stress, people bring us stress, those kinds of things happen. So I really want us to start with some things that bring us joy. So let us start together. Let's give the example. If you can think about something that brings you joy, this is the carrot though. The carrot is that the things that bring you joy, for this list, it cannot involve someone else. So you can't say that I feed my family and that's what brings me joy. So we're going to try to give some examples of joy that we have for ourselves and we can make for ourselves. So I'll start.
Okay.
One of the things that brings me joy is to write. I love to write. I love to express my thoughts. I like to describe things in new ways, and I like to be able to go back and look at that again. Right. So in those moments where I'm feeling the stress or I'm feeling the press of the stress, I like to go back and read what I wrote. So some people do it in poetry form. Some people do it in short stories. How about you? What would be one of the things that bring you joy?
Music.
Oh,
Music, R&B, old school, and the water. So if
Okay.
I have water and music, I'm on cloud nine. Seriously.
Is there a special place that you have to go to hear the music and be close to water?
Two places: Belle Isle, preferably early in the morning,
Okay.
and the tub, taking a bath.
Oh, okay.
I have my music playing, and candles, and
Oh,
oh my goodness. So whatever mood I'm in, I put that particular music on, type of music, and I'm in the bathroom for like 2 hours.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
can, and you can lose time in your joy too. But
Absolutely.
sometimes, and for me when I write, like and I also like to write poetry too. That seems like such an old chapter in my life, but I always liked writing poetry.
I still
So,
have your poetry too.
oh, do you?
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
okay. So I'll give our viewers a little bit of backstory. I have known Christelle Williams,
87.
since about 1987. And so her gifts to me have been a part of my life and actually a part of my joy. And some things she's retired from some areas, but some of the things that even just her presence, even her singing, that's not much that she does very often or publicly, but it's one of the things that she in her gift, her bag of gifts, that her trunk of gifts, her bank of gifts that really brought me joy just in knowing her. And she can just hum something to you, and she is very, very soothing. And so that's one of the things, and that's something that involves somebody else, but that was a gift that she gave to the people who she loves. So I really appreciate that about
Girl,
her.
made me cry. I'm sensitive.
Well, I'm glad that
Thank you.
all of the gifts that you have make you this dynamic woman that you are. And I'm so glad that in your journey you have seen to share this gift with those people who really need it in the time and the season that we're in, where people really need to have this
Yes.
level of healing.
Absolutely.
The under the surface. Now it's almost like and it's a little bit about a backstory, right? For why this type of healing and energy work that you do is important. We feel the surface. Like one of the worst cuts ever is a paper cut.
Oh yes.
And it because oftentimes we don't even know how it happened. You just experience the pain of the cut, and so just experiencing that pain, and then it's sometimes the time it takes for it to heal. Sometimes it doesn't happen right away.
Right.
And so I like to think of that with the healing work and energy work that you do, that sometimes those things may cut us and we may not know how deep that cut might be. And so as you do your healing work, let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you even came to be interested in Reiki.
Okay. Well, I was a court reporter for Wayne County Juvenile Court for 19 years. And I didn't feel like it was fulfilling for me for a long time, and I couldn't explain it. I was going through the motions every day. A friend of mine asked me, "Have you ever thought about becoming a massage therapist?" And I said, "No." I said, "I've given massages to my mother, when she was sick, but never thought about it for a living." And come to find out, the school I went to, Irene's Myomassology Institute, was literally down the street from where I lived. But I thought it was a yoga school. I didn't know it was for massage. So going to massage school, it introduced me to Reiki, it introduced me to chakras, feng shui, different things that heals you spiritually more so than physically. So as I quit the court, started doing massage, and as I started doing massage, it continued to grow spiritually, where I was learning more about Reiki, learning more about chakras. And then that's when I realized that this was my purpose, to heal spiritually as well as physically.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome. I'm
Thank
not sure
you.
how many of our listeners know about chakra energy or chakra work, but I can tell you a little bit about it, and maybe you can shed some light on this too. So our chakras are our energy centers, and we have 7 energy centers that are stationed throughout our bodies, from our root chakra, which is the lowest chakra, to our crown chakra, which is the highest chakra. And let me just say that the heart chakra is the dividing point between the lower chakras and the higher chakras, but also the dividing point between the lower self and the higher self, which is
Exactly.
another perspective to have. So do you want to shed a little bit of light on the chakras or the energy work?
Absolutely. You explained it perfectly.
Oh, thank you.
Each chakra represents different parts of us spiritually. For example, the third eye chakra is your intuition. Most people that I work on, their heart and their throat chakras are closed. They don't speak their truth, which so many people don't. And the heart chakra, where it you receive and give unconditional love, and so many people are their heart chakra is bolted shut because they've been hurt so many times, and when they've been hurt so many times, they say, okay, I don't want to go through that anymore, so I'm just going to be by myself. So what I can do, I can sit with a person, and after they talk for a few minutes, I can feel which chakra is closed.
Wow.
And then I let them know, okay, your solar plexus is closed. Your sacral chakra is closed. But like I said, 90% of my clients, their heart or their throat chakras are closed. And a lot of people are afraid to speak their truth. For whatever reason, they're afraid to speak their truth. But you explained chakras perfectly. I don't need to really add anything.
Well, I mean, but that offers a real dynamic perspective about where we are in community. And because we're talking about community wellness, if you're not able to speak your truth or even find your voice, if you're not able to find your voice, then that means that your energy is blocked. That means
Absolutely.
that what you're supposed to be speaking into the world can't help the world because you're not speaking it. Or the love that you bring, that you're supposed to bring to the world, that you're not bringing it because it's blocked.
Exactly.
And it's really important that we understand and we know that when we talk about our voice, we're also talking about what we affirm and what we deny. So if you continue to say things that are negative about yourself and about others, like I'm sick and tired of X, when you say that, you speak that into your own life. You speak that into the lives of the people who are near you, around you, who care about you. You're affirming that. So we have to be better to start our wellness process, if you're not doing this already, is the awareness of what we say.
Absolutely.
When you tell somebody good morning, you say good morning to someone, you speak goodness into their morning. When you say, just like you, I mean, it's really important that people recognize that it's not just a pleasantry. It is a prayer. It is an affirmation that you offer to that person. I think that's really important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had a client yesterday. I cleansed he just bought a house, and I cleansed and blessed his house. And as soon as I stepped out of the car, I said, "Hi, how are you?" I'm making it. I said, "Oh, no, no, no. Let's change that. Change the
Okay.
verbiage." I said, "What was positive today?" And he said, "Okay, well, this happened and that happened." I said, "Okay, so was that good?" He said, "You know what?" He said, "I'm blessed. I woke up this morning." I said, "That's it." I said, no matter what's going on in your life, something is positive. Something happened that's positive in your life. Focus on that.
Right.
A lot of people focus on the negative, and then they wonder why, then they wonder why things aren't going the way that they wanted to. When we say this is too good to be true, you're speaking that into existence. So you're right. We have to change our verbiage. We have to speak our truth. And I wanted to touch on something you said earlier about what brings people happiness. A lot of times, and I see this in a lot of my clients as well, they take on a job because their parents said, this is what you need to be doing. You should have this job. But they're not fulfilling their dream. They're not, okay, if they work at a plant, and I'm not, downing any position, but that might not be for them. But they took the job because it was a 9-to-5, it was security, benefits, but they wanted to be an artist or they wanted to be a singer. So now you're going to work and you're making money to pay the bills, but you're not happy in doing what you want to do. You're not happy in living living your dream, your purpose, and so then they realized, okay, I've been here for 10 years, and that was me working at the court. I was so happy when I started working at the court because it was a great government job.
Right.
But after a while, it was like, okay, it gotta be a better way. I would say that literally every single day going to work. It gotta be a better way. And I'm not downing anybody who work at the court. It wasn't for me anymore. But I stayed longer because everybody, oh, you have a son. How you going to take care of him? Oh, you're getting good benefits. You're making great money. But I was miserable. So once I quit and I started doing massage, I feel so at peace. I feel so happy. That's part of my joy, is that I'm living my purpose.
Yes. And that's the other piece that I think is a part of our wellness. When you are doing what you love to do, when you're doing things that bring you that peace, that put your piece of the puzzle in our community, that's where we find our value. That's where we find our peace. That's where we find our pathway.
Absolutely.
And that's so... I can't even express how important that is. And for those of us who are still looking for that one thing, and it may not be just one thing. And I want to make sure I share this before I forget my thought, is that the path that we take, we're not taking the wrong or the right path. We're either taking the short way or the long way.
Ooh,
I think that's such an
perfect.
important perspective to have.
Yes.
Because when you look at it, the timing that things happen, once you start walking the path, those things start falling into place. And then your piece lines up with someone else's piece. And then you, like I almost called you Fudge. Like Christelle and I, Crystal and I, our pieces lined up. It was a time, so we've known each other since 1997. I can't even think how many years.
87.
Oh, 87. I can't even remember how many
Yeah,
years
that's
that
like
is.
33 years.
30 plus
32,
years,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So, but during the course of our lifetime, our paths kept crossing. I mean, and we spent a lot of good time together.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that our paths kept crossing and our pieces kept fitting together. It might be something she brought to me. So let me just say, and I know this is an area that she's retired from, but I just really want to tell you, her gifts are so real. It was a point that I had reached where I was very, very stressed out. And she offered a massage for me. And it was probably the first time I asked a woman to marry me because, because all of the tension, everything was just released. And I fell asleep. That was one. But I felt at total peace. My body and my mind and my thoughts all aligned up for peace. And that was it was just magic. And I kept looking at her like, this is what you were supposed to do. And I know that was a season. And now that your Reiki season, I can only imagine what your Reiki sessions are like. I mean, I can imagine just based on that experience, and so I have gifted a few people with her massage gift cards. She's done that for me, so that's been awesome. But and this new role, now tell us about becoming the experience of a Reiki master. Can you share that with us?
Absolutely. I do want to clarify, though, I'm a Reiki practitioner.
Okay,
Reiki
practitioner.
master, they teach Reiki.
Okay.
So I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Oh, of course, of course. Becoming it was amazing because the first time I took Reiki in Irene's, I got so emotional and I couldn't finish it at that time. One of my spiritual sisters, Dr. Asada Haki, just called me out the blue and said, I want to administer Reiki on you. And at first I said, oh, no, thank you. It was too emotional. And I heard, actually it was my grandfather, I heard, no, you're ready. You're ready. So I scheduled the appointment with her, told her yes, and she administered Reiki, and the entire experience was so spiritual. And as she's talking to me after the Reiki session was over, she said, do you know who you are? And I said no, which I have gotten that a few times. And she explained everything, and she told me my mother and my grandfather are always by my side. They're walking with me. And it was so fascinating. And I explained to her the same with me, that it was so emotional that I couldn't finish the program. So after that experience, I said, you know what, I'm ready. I'm ready for everything that I'm supposed to be doing. So she introduced me to another woman who kind of got her interested in Reiki. And so I took her class. Matter of fact, I took actually 3 Reiki courses.
Oh, awesome.
So,
awesome.
yeah. But as I started administering Reiki and I started feeling the energy, and when the client gets off the table and they'll say, I felt like I was floating, or I saw my father and I was walking with him, you can feel. One day I administered Reiki and something popped in the room. It was we didn't know if it was a light or electricity or something, and that's how powerful the energy is in us, and it heals. I broke my ankle February 10th of this year, and I was walking by the end of April, and I was out of the boot by May, and that was from Reiki. And a lot of people, they're not familiar with spiritual healing. Mm-hmm. They say that it's the devil's work or it's dark spirits, but it's not. Dr. Usui, who invented Reiki, he was the one that he was extremely sick. And when he was sick, he spoke to the Lord. And he went to the mountain, he spoke to the Lord, and the Lord gave him Reiki. And that's how it started. Mm-hmm. So what we do, because I'm a licensed massage therapist, I can lay hands on you, but you can just put your hands and you can feel the energy, mm-hmm. As we get closer, we can feel it without even touching. So that it's relaxation, but in relaxation is also healing through energy work.
Wow, that's so awesome. So you mentioned that there was 3, you had taken 3 different courses.
Mm-hmm,
Can you share that in those 3 courses? Did you see a difference? Did you learn something new and different in each course?
Absolutely, I did, but it also heightened what I already knew.
Okay.
So even though I learned something new with each program, it was still, and it wasn't that I felt that I didn't get enough learning this time or I didn't learn enough. It was just, it's so fascinating that, you can read the books, but it's a different feeling when you learn it from different people because you do experience different things.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to talk about the intuitive healing part of you. Mm-hmm. Did you find that experience, or do you infuse the intuitive healing as part of the Reiki? How did that emerge?
Yeah, it's amazing because as I do massage, I didn't know at the time that I was seeing, because I didn't know that I had that gift. I mean, I could feel it all my life, but I didn't know what it was because we never talked about it. But as I'm doing massage, I can see parents, I can see cousins, and I would ask them, I had one young man come to me when I first started Reiki, and I was doing a massage on him. He had sciatic nerve issues. And I said, somebody made their transition and you were very close to him. And he said, yeah, that was my cousin, but it was my best friend. And so I started telling him things and I've never done this before. Mm-hmm. And I started talking, and he sat up and he started crying. I mean, just broke down and started crying. And that's when I knew, okay, this isn't just an isolated incident, because I would have dreams about different relatives, and it wasn't until I had a dream about Sammy Davis Jr. And I didn't know where that came from because I never met him. But as I'm doing massage, just a regular massage, I started seeing things and feeling things. And then I had one client, his mother passed, and I knew his mother had passed. And I heard her say, tell my son I miss him. And I said, no. I said, I don't know if he's ready for that. He came for a massage. She said, oh, shit. Tell my son. And she said it just like that. I
Right.
miss him. And I said, do you feel your mother? Do you feel your mother in here? He was like, oh, I feel her all the time. I said, no, right now. And so as we were talking, and he kind of turned around, and he was like, I was just thinking about her. And I said, yeah, she's in here with you. So now when I do massage, I would say, because I never just, I'll
Right.
say, I have a message. Are you ready to receive it?
Okay.
So that's how I incorporate the intuitive into the massage. And it was amazing because intuitive touch, I got that name from another woman, another classmate, who we were going to go into business together, and she didn't feel comfortable, nothing personal, but she said she wanted to work alone. She said, but you can have the name if you like it. And that's how I got intuitive touch. But now I see it's all related.
Wow,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because I can't describe another way to really recognize your gifts. That's the best way to recognize your gifts.
Thank you.
So before we're going to be closing soon.
Okay.
But I do want you to share your information. We're going to share it twice to make sure if there's anybody out there that's ready to take this next step with the deeper level of healing, and Christelle Williams resonated with you. So it was something about her and something that she said that made you want to work with her. She's going to share her information. So if you please, share
Okay,
your
I sure
information.
will. My telephone number is 248-996-4517, and you can text me anytime. My Instagram page is intuitive touch _522. I also have a page on Facebook that's Intuitive Touch Relax and Massage. I just moved, literally just moved out of the shop that I was working at for a year.
For next level.
Exactly. It was such a wonderful experience. Honey the Healer changed my life. I have a few people that actually contributed to changing my life, but so I don't have a physical address right now, but I do travel to my clients. So if they would text me or call me, we can make an appointment.
So give us that number again.
248-996-4517.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
that.
Thank you.
I mean, so is there anything that you would tell somebody who is curious about taking this next step? What would you tell them?
Follow their heart. What we tend to do, our mind talks us out of what we want to do. So if we want to quit our job, start our own business, move out of town, even if we meet somebody who's wonderful and we get scared, it's that fear, it's that mind. So if our heart, our gut, which is the heart chakra and the solar plexus chakra, if they're talking to us, we got to listen. Even if it says turn right and we're used to going straight, and then you go straight, oh, I always go straight, and then it's an accident or a traffic jam. You say, something told me I should have turned. Like
Right.
it's the same thing. We have to follow our heart.
Oh, that's good. That's good medicine. That's good medicine.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today and my Pioneer show. That's my first solo show today with
Did an
Expose.
excellent job.
Thank you. With Expose Under the Sun, my special guest here, Christelle Williams, our intuitive healer. That's also the way that you can find her on her Instagram and on Facebook if you missed her number. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Detroit Native Sun. If you're interested in advertising or you're interested in our newspaper, please reach out to Valerie at 313-457-5944. Again, that number is 313-457-5944. That is Valerie, the editor of Detroit Native Sun, who made this day possible. And for my co-host, Darwin, I hope you're listening. Thank you for all you do and for the information that you bring to the community every week. And thank you for sharing this space with me. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on December 28th, our next show, and our special guest who will join us then. So thank you all. Have an awesome day and have a happy holiday season.